folks, welcome in Seven Rivers Racing here in KQEG and TV. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losey. We are just about a week and a half away from getting out to the La Crosse Speedway. The first open practice and media day is coming up on the 21st. Big street drag coming up that night. It's the Spring Fling Spectacular, and every time we do the show, another week goes by, and it just seems like that week is just flying because now we were saying 2 months from now, now it's a week and a half, and we're going to see some activity at the track.
And it's almost like a tunnel vision. We're slowly kind of getting ourselves into that get on the track mode. Everybody really wants to get their motors. I know a lot of them don't have them back yet. We're one of them, and hopefully we get it back and we can get some practice in before the first night of racing.
We've had about 5 or 6 teams so far out at the La Crosse Speedway, putting some time in their cars, getting adjustments. And I talked to Jay Herbst here about a week ago. Got both of his cars out there about a week and a half ago. So slowly but surely, if you live in that area, you're going to start hearing a lot more rumbling going on. And I can always tell when there's someone practicing because someone will text me or hit me on Facebook, hey, when is the open practice? So it's not only the drivers that are getting ready to hit the track with anticipation, it's the race fans themselves. They hear it at the Speedway. So when is that first practice going on again? And
our son works over there, and when he hears the motors fire up in the morning, he goes over there and has lunch.
That's the perfect place to do it as well. As all those times you ever see cars out there, folks, if the gates are open, you can go up there and head up and sit in the grandstands. Coming off of the annual drivers orientation meeting that was held last week with the La Crosse Speedway, not too many big changes. No longer, well, I think they may have a stipulation this year. This will be the last year you can have 3 numbers on the car. There were some drivers that have already painted their cars, already have the numbers on there, but it's just something that, and it's key for me because if you look at the scoreboard, there's only 2 slots for numbers. So when you have and it only happens in the Hornets. But if you've got 2 or 3 of those out there, and say you have 2 99s, and one of them's a 199, really hard for the fans to read that scoreboard.
Especially if they're one might be a lap down and one's passing the other. You don't know which one to actually call.
Because suddenly the number doesn't move.
Exactly. A couple of things, though, that I did pick up at the drivers' meeting. One is that they're going to, per Chuck's okay, anyone who brings in a Thunderstock front-wheel drive, first time in the history of La Crosse Speedway, on a time-by-time basis, he's going to allow them in the Thunderstocks, see how they work out the first few weeks and make some adjustments, as Chuck always does, to keep things fair. And that's going to be a very interesting, it's going to be very interesting to see how that develops over the course of the year. And Chuck, as you and I know, are always trying to bring fun to the racetrack. One of the neat things that he is doing for the race teams in the late model division this year is at qualifying, we're going to be putting a piece of duct tape on our left front bumper, and we get to guess what our qualifying time is before we go. And there's going to be a gift at the end.
And that, along with, you talk about some of the new additions at the Speedway this year, they have the new somewhat front row challenge. It's the Outback Steakhouse challenge that's going on. And so we'll still have a certificate. The driver that leads at the midway point of the late model feature is going to get an Outback Steakhouse gift certificate. But then you have another, which I'm going to really pay attention to this if I can this year with everything that goes on, is the driver that accumulates the most positions during a race. Now, you could be leading and drop back. You could get into a wreck or get sent to the back and then have to work your way up to the front. The driver that accumulates the most positions during the late model feature is going to be getting an award as well. And I think for some of the drivers that may know that they are not really at the point where they're going to win a track championship. There's another incentive out there to race towards.
And that's exactly right. And that's what really is nice. We're not going to win a track championship ourselves, and we're in the same boat as a lot of other people, but we can pass cars.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, we do fall back and go forward, and the leaders do drop back because of accidents, and then they're passing us. The person who really needs to get an award is the person who's going to have to keep track of all that.
I think Connie and her staff is really going to, I don't know if they're going to have a different person just watch for that or not, because everything else, I see what they do in the scoring tower. Yeah, always give them a new task. That makes for happy times in the scoring tower. Came back from the Mississippi Thunder Speedway car show and swap meet they held last weekend. For those that don't know, I'm one of the new announcers on Friday nights this year at Mississippi Thunder Speedway in Fountain City. Dan Bailey and myself will be calling the races on Friday nights, and been a dirt track racing fan at heart since the early 70s.
Yes, you have.
So, and I've done some announcing as well, so I really can't wait to get up there. So it's going to be announcing on Fridays and Saturday nights this year, both at La Crosse and Mississippi Thunder. And about 12 to 15 cars show up, and it was really neat because there were all the different classes being represented. Everything from 8-year-old drivers that run inside of what we call the lightning track,
sure,
and then all the way up to the late mods and the A mods. So it was a good time. I got to meet a lot of good drivers up there. Some drivers, matter of fact, live in our area that watch the program, so it was nice to see them again.
And the Fountain City has a good core group of fans that go out there quite often, and it's kind of nice to see them give back to the community, let them get a chance to see the guys away from the racetrack.
And again, their opening night is April 27th, the opening night at La Crosse. April 28th, so we're going to dive right in and test those vocal cords right out of the chute this year. I want to congratulate Steve Einhaus. He is the vice president of the ASA Midwest Touring Series. Got married last week, and we're going to see Steve quite a bit. Try to get him on the show here this year to talk more about that, but we'll have Kevin Ramsell in anyways, the public relations director for the ASA and the Midwest Tour, so congratulations goes out to Steve. And I think the smokers are done. I think the last big batch were held last weekend.
Yeah, I haven't seen any more come through. It's been a long season, and there's been a lot of smokers and a lot of people making some good money for the racing teams.
Yeah, being supported a lot by other racing teams, helping them out. When we come back, one of those, I had a chance to hit his smoker about 3 weekends ago. Had a nice turnout, and a lot of drivers from the area showed up as well. Nick Clements, driver of the number 8 late model with the Quick Trip NASCAR Late Model Series of La Crosse, your current 2011 Rookie of the Year. Coming up next on Seven Rivers Racing.